Hey guys, how are we doing? It's Martin Cliffe here with another episode of Mastering Views, and in this one we're looking at what has become my favourite overdrive pedal, the Suhr Shiba Drive. Now there's not a lot to look at. It's a typical overdrive pedal. You have a drive control, you have a level control, and you have a tone control, and then you have a 3-position smooth switch. It's powered by battery or 9 volt. In fact, I think it can be powered up to 18 volts. It has a cool switch if you're using some kind of MIDI looper sort of device or anything that's got control switching on it. It has a little port on the back, 1/8" jack, that you can trigger it remotely, and it's got a little switch that sets, if you're using it in a rack or whatever, what the default power-up state is, whether it's on by default, off by default, or whether it's controlled by the jack. True bypass, tough metal chassis. It's the typical annoying thing where you have to take the screws off to take the screws out to change the battery, but other than on reviews, who uses batteries for overdrive pedals anyway? So I'm playing Snowy, which is my Ibanez JS100. It has a Damasio D-Sonic in the bridge, Damasio N Norton in the neck, clean tone here, amp is an Agnator tweaker. So that's both humbuckers on, and then with all the knobs at 12 o'clock position. It's a very amp sounding overdrive. Dare I say Tube Screamer? Well, I'm going to say it. It's a bit darker than Tube Screamer. It's got a bit more clarity, not quite as much mid. So let's look at what the controls do. The first one being the drive control. Obviously the lower we take it, the less overdrive we get. So I turn it all the way down. And at that point it's not making any coloration to my tone, and it's also not giving any drive, not pushing the amp any harder. Obviously I had to turn it to the level to compensate. But I didn't have to push the level all the way, which means that if you want to do that thing where you push the amp a little bit harder by cranking the level, do that. So just to compare, off. It's subtly more, it's also a little bit more warm, a little bit more mid-range. Giving it a bit more drive then. Trying to keep the level consistent while we're looking at the drive control, which does mean that I'll turn down the level as I turn up the drive. So at 9 o'clock, nice kind of slightly clangy country kind of sound. Obviously with single coils that might be a bit you know, not enough drive, but with humbuckers it's just kind of got that, dare I say, edge of breakup, you know what I mean. Just the bridge humbucker. Great fun for that kind of low drive. And in fact on my main pedal board I run 2 of these, and I run one pretty much set up like this, a little bit more drive than that but not very much. Drive then up to about 11 o'clock, level to about 1 o'clock to compensate. And on the neck, definitely got enough kind of sing at that point, enough drive to give it a bit of a lead tone if you want anything not too driven. Lovely singing tone on the neck pickup there. And it's lovely and quiet, which I think is one of the keys about this pedal, certainly for me, why I like it so much. Okay, let's turn the drive up to about 2 and just pull back the level a little bit. Just give you a clean tone to compare. And that's kind of where I like to have it set in terms of the drive. So it's still very responsive to picking dynamics if I play gently. We're not talking tons again, but enough. Let's crank it up again to about 3. That's giving me plenty of sustain, very amp-like. Really, even though it's so much drive, this isn't a crazy high gain drive pedal, so it's just it's all very workable, and even all the way up. Great fun. Still staying amp-like, which is cool. Okay, so let's take the drive back down to 12 o'clock and see what the tone control does to our sound. Just going back, clean tone. So even with the tone all the way rolled off, it's certainly attenuating the highs, but it's still letting them through. There's still a bit of sparkle going on the bridge pickup. See on the neck pickup. We're getting a very kind of fat singing tone. I always think that it's strange the way that a lot of pedal demos, they show a lot of the extremes of the range. So I'm going to move swiftly on from that, because let's face it, most people use their controls on their pedals between about 10 o'clock and about 2 o'clock. So at 9 o'clock we're starting to get a bit of top end back in. You perceive it to be a bit louder once you've got a bit more top end in with the tone. 11 o'clock. Taking it up to about 1 o'clock. It's starting to feel a little bit louder, so let's just take the level back down a tad. On the bridge. Much beyond this, I'm starting to think it's perhaps going to sound a bit, certainly with my amp and my guitar, a little bit too bright. Maybe if you've got something like a Les Paul that's much darker, or a dark sounding amp, it would help to brighten it up. So it's brightening up the neck pickup nicely, but it's getting a bit ice picky to my ears on the bridge pickup, and certainly all the way up. That's really quite sharp. Now, what could you possibly use such an extremely sharp tone for? Well, I'm thinking maybe for an effect for recording, if you want a kind of lo-fi tone, you maybe take the level down a bit. So you go from just your generic kind of you get that kind of transistor radio. So it's useful to have these extreme ranges on controls, particularly for recording and for different applications. But let's face it, for the most part, most of us are going to be using things around about the middle. In fact, you may be able to just see on the camera, if I tilt up the thing, that I have some little marks I've made in pen as to where I normally have this, which is with the drive there, the level a bit higher and the tone just down at about 11 o'clock. Now, I don't think I really need to go through what a level control does, let's face it. As I turn it down, it makes it quieter. And as I turn it up, it makes it louder. It's very linear, so it's a case of, as I've done in the video, balancing the amount of drive with the amount of level. You can either use it at what we call unity gain, which is keep it so that when the pedal's off and the pedal's on it's the same volume, or you can use it to push your amp a little bit harder, to maybe push your amp into natural tube overdrive, just by turning up the level a little bit. But I'd say the higher you have the level, the lower you want the drive and so on, because it's going to well, it's kind of up to you what sounds good, really, as long as you're not damaging the front of your amplifier or anything. But it is something to watch, particularly when recording, that you're not then clipping levels on your microphones or whatever. So the only thing I haven't looked at is the smooth control. And what this does, it has three different, I think it affects the mid-range response of the pedal. So I tend to have it in the middle, which sounds like this. Let's play something in a different key than D. So. Okay, position to the left. quite subtle. Let's go back. Let's go to the right hand setting now. That to me sounds a bit warmer. So say in the middle it's a little bit brighter, and then to the left it's slightly smoother, and to the right it's quite a lot smoother. So you'd think I'd really have it on the left. I need to check my other pedals to see whether I do on that one. But this one, because I tend to roll off the tone slightly, I like it just in the middle position. And I think the impact of the smooth control may be felt differently if we have it at different drive settings. So let's try that. First of all with a little bit more drive. So that seems to be having less effect on the higher gain setting. Let's take it down. Yes, it's being a little bit more prominent in the lower gain setting, but it's very subtle. It's just about something that tunes your tone and how you want to hear it. So there we have it. This has been the Suhr Shiba Drive pedal. That's a bit of a tongue twister for you, which, as I say, has become my favourite overdrive pedal because it's really nice and rugged, sounds great, and it's really low noise. Okay, I've been Martin Cliffe. This has been Martin Reviews. Until next time, take care.